Yeah, it's funny. The Lord has radically changed my life. I mean, I've always had a fun and neat life, and I've had a bunch of different careers. And but there was always the little, and I hear a lot of people say, how do you know? How do you know what God's purpose for your life is? And that was a question that I had asked too. I was raised, a Christian, accepted the Lord as a child, was baptized, and had that wonderful childlike faith in the Lord. But I think for the first maybe 40 years or so, it just kind of stuck there at childlike faith. And then I went to the, matter of fact, I don't even think it was called the Harvest Crusade at that point, at Irvine Meadows, Greg Laurie's first Harvest Crusade. And I heard, in simple words, I heard the gospel. I heard things that I hadn't heard in church before. I realized that there was a real personal relationship that Jesus wants to have with each and every one of us. And I charged down on the field with all those other people, and it was life-changing. And I started to study the Bible. Like we all make that commitment, we're going to study the Bible, we're going to read the Bible, and you open up the Bible and you go, and I can't pronounce a single word here, because you always go to the genealogies, right? Or worse yet, somewhere where they're talking about all these terrible sacrifices, and you're like, oh, really? Let's see if I can find another page to look at here. But what I discovered is, in order to, you have to be in the Word. You have to read the Bible. You have to know the Word. I mean, if God's going to speak to you and you're not speaking His language, you're not going to understand what He says. And I've got a life full of that. I've done all sorts of incredible things and had all these fun careers and everything. But it was all me, I, and I wouldn't say that it was empty. But now that I filled it up with the Lord, I can look back and go, oh yeah, that was just the baby times, the milk times. So I can look back and see where the Lord many, many times was speaking, the various career changes that I've had. I've had accidents. I've had 9 hospitalized concussions, and I've walked away from all of them. So I kind of knew there was something planned. I always had this feeling that there was something special. But until I really got into studying the Word, there was no mystery voice, there was no guidance. I just kind of bounced along, with my life. So the Harvest Crusade was phenomenal. The music, the inspiration, and then to see that there were all these other people that were Christians too. That there were a lot of people that believed in the Bible. I had always gone to church, probably a lot more than most of the people that I knew, but that wasn't really a whole lot. Christmas, Easter, a couple times, but I was more than most of the people that I knew. So I started to study the Bible a little more. And it's difficult when you're doing it alone. And I happened to go on the internet. I wanted to find a program that would read the Bible to me. So one of my first great discoveries was a program called Daily Audio Bible, dailyaudiobible.com. And the guy that reads this is from the Christian music business. He's got a beautiful voice, and he reads the Old Testament, the New Testament, a psalm and a proverb every day. So I'm like in year 7 now of going through the Bible cover to cover, and I can do it when I'm driving. I can do it, I carry my little iPad around with me. I can listen to the Bible. So now, although I'm not going to whip out and quote chapter and verse because I'm still not quite there yet, if somebody asks me, I know where in the Bible to find it. I know what the basis for that quote was. I actually know the names of the apostles. I can tell you, the books of the gospel. Little things that if you say you're a Christian and you have belief, it would be nice if somebody actually questions you, where you can come back and you can share that information. So that's a real important message, is getting in the Word. That Daily Audio Bible program for me is phenomenal. What started out as Brian Harden just doing it, he was going to do a little podcast. He figured 8 or 9 of his friends would listen. As of earlier this year, that website has hit 1.2 million times a day. Internationally, he does it in all sorts of different languages. There's a whole community. So a lot of people, have had issues of being churched or going to a church or distinguishing a denomination. It's non-denominational. It's strictly Bible. He doesn't tell stories. He doesn't make commentaries. He will refer back. He'll introduce the books of the Bible, kind of set up the geography for it. And for the first year or so, that's all I listened to. That was the first half of the program. But there's a second half of the program because there's now a worldwide community, and where people call in prayer requests, and then they'll call back with praise reports. And I started listening to these prayer requests, and prayer is so powerful. It was really hit home about the right after I'd gone to the Harvest Crusade. I have a sister that was involved in a car accident. And it was a very severe car accident. She severed her spine. She was in a coma for 28 days. And they were making the decision to take her off life support because there were no brain waves. I mean, she was at Loma Linda, so they did phenomenal surgery, put steel rods in her back and everything, but they had pretty much made the decision to pull the plug. Well, the week before her accident, I was unable to go to a retreat that I wanted to go to. And so I sent my sister, who was not a believer and who wasn't really happy about being sent off to this retreat. And she winds up bunking with 5 other women, 6 in the bunk, and all 5 of those women happened to be pastors' wives. Just happened to be pastors' wives. So at the end of the weekend, she had received the Lord, which was just a wonderful thing. And then that following Thursday, the accident happened. So the pastors' wives, everybody knew what had happened. The churches were praying for her. The pastor was coming out laying hands on her. But, nothing was happening. A lot of prayers. And day 28, I had just finished talking with the doctors. The family had been told that, okay, in 2 days we're pulling the plug. And I'm kind of saying goodbye to her. And there's a nurse puttering around. And all of a sudden, I cry easy. She looks up. She opens her eyes and she looks up and goes, "Hi, PR, how are you?" The nurse screams, right? She's got this tray of stuff, and it's like, ah, and stuff all over. Nobody would have believed me if I would have been there alone. And all the alarms are going off, and everybody's running in there, and she's back in her coma. But I mean, she popped out for a second. So the next 3 or 4 days, she kept coming in and out and in and out. I was so mad at this doctor. They're going to pull the plug on her. How could you, And what he said to me, he says, "Okay, we're doctors. This is a hospital, but we're a Christian hospital, and we see miracles all the time. And nobody has got more prayers than your sister." So I'm like, whoa, prayer is incredibly powerful. So yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. So I started studying prayer and then listening to the back part of the daily audio Bible program with all the prayers. And these are people from all over the world, but it's now a community. And you'll hear, Nikki from, oh, thank you. I really tried not to do this. I had a video I was going to play, but I cry every time I see the video, and I made the video, so I thought, no, we won't even go there. But you can see it on the website, though. You can blot away in private. So as I started opening up to studying the Word and to being open, the Lord just started revealing things like that. Now, that was a terrible tragedy. My sister today, she's paralyzed. But once you get over the fact that she's short because she's in a wheelchair, there is no difference in her. She actually qualified for the U.S. Olympic team, handicap team riding. Wonder where she got that from. So I mean, but again, her first visit out of the hospital, I took her to. We went every Sunday for like 6 Sundays to the various churches that had prayed for her. So she was a blessing to so many people that had prayed for this person they didn't know, and then she's wheeled, So that was almost 20 years ago now, but it's been a really, really powerful witness. And then shortly after that, my dad passed away of cancer. But because I had a new understanding from going to the Harvest Crusade, I knew that it was really important that my dad accept the Lord so that I would be able to see him in heaven. And so I gave my very first witness. Now again, my dad's in a coma. He's, but I'm telling him, it's okay, Daddy. I know you're going to die, but I want you to know the Lord. I want to see you in heaven. And it's easy, right? He's in a coma. I go through this whole thing that Greg Laurie said, bringing somebody to Christ. He lifts his hand up and says, "God." Wow. All right, and then he's gone, but I know where he went. So it's not like I lost my dad. I know where he went, but that was like 2 incredibly powerful things, opportunities that I might have missed. But now I'm communicating with the Lord. Now I'm reading the Bible. I'm in the Word. And I'm seeing things. I'm praising the Lord. That it just isn't a weird thing. It wasn't just some kind of coincidence that my sister lived. It was a power of prayer. And it was being able to witness to somebody even on a deathbed. And I've had people say, "Oh, deathbed confessions. They don't mean anything. But let's think about Jesus on the cross. Didn't he have a criminal next to him?
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So there's kind of your deathbed confession and acceptance. And so it's never too late. That kind of gave me a real heart for working with elderly people or ill people. It's hard, especially if you got somebody that's dying of cancer. You don't want to buy into the dying part, but you can be a part of helping them. You can share the word with them, and it's comforting. I mean, you don't have to do the fire and brimstone thing. You can just share the love, and it's amazing. My dad's hand shot up like that. I mean, it was another one of those. Did anybody else see that? So it was very powerful to me to be able to do that, and I was your basic contemporary. I mean, I didn't run around saying I was Christian. I didn't run around with crosses on my neck. I didn't, I had this private, personal relationship with the Lord. But now I can't wait to share it. I just absolutely and love sharing it. So, so the power of prayer, that became very, very, very undeniable to me, how powerful that was. So I started praying regularly. Now I lay me down to sleep, pray the Lord my soul to keep. I always did that from a little kid, but real serious prayers and praying about other people too. And then because you're praying about them, you're caring about them, and you ask them, if you pray about something that somebody's shared with you, you remember that, and then you ask them about it, and then you remind them because the sun always rises. I mean, no matter how terrible today is or tomorrow might be, at some point in time, it passes. It's a beautiful day. Whatever was threatening you is gone. But it's important to thank God for that. A lot of times we go through the tough times and we just kind of forget about the thank you part. Got through that, or I handled that. I'm at the point now where I understand that everything is in God's hands. So I thank God for everything. And it makes a whole difference about how you look at life and how things happen for you. Then there's another story. You see all the pictures of the shepherd with the little lamb over its neck and how cute that is. That's not cute. Sheep tend to wander away. They take off and they run away, and the shepherd has this little staff. It's got a hook on it. Sometimes he can grab the little sheep. Sometimes he chases the little sheep back. But sometimes little sheep are really, really bad, and they take the staff and they whack and they break a leg on a little sheep. And then they carry the little sheep around while it heals, because it can't walk. They just broke its leg. And it bonds, all right? So to me, this is a picture of kind of what Jesus did with me. I was on the fringes. I was, understanding prayer. I was sharing my faith. But I was still in the world. I was still just really not quite where I should be. So one day I'm walking down a set of stairs, and my heel catches in the little stones, and I tumbled end over end all the way down the flight of stairs, landed on my kneecap and shattered the kneecap. So I didn't have insurance at the time, unfortunately. I could get fined for that now. The building x-rayed it. The building management said it was okay. They paid for the x-ray, but they weren't going to pay for the surgery to fix the knee. So there I am, kind of with this shattered kneecap. But I was lucky. It was shattered, but no pieces had flown anywhere. So the orthopedic guy said, just stay off it for 6 weeks, and it'll heal, and you'll be fine. Yeah, stay off it for 6 weeks. I've got horses. I'm going to stay off it for 6 weeks. Well, my friends were really wonderful. Everybody helped me, and I did. I stayed off it for about 4 weeks. 4 weeks. It wasn't quite enough. But during that time, I had found K-Wave radio station. Now, I like music. I love music, but I don't like talk shows of any sort. And K-Wave is basically Christian talk radio. It's Bible study, Bible study, Bible study. Okay, so now I'm in a recliner. I don't have a television, but I've got K-Wave on, and I'm listening to this all the time, and I don't do relax really well. So I'm kind of fidgeting, but I can't. I mean, the knee is like puffed out like this. So here I am listening, and sitting over here, I have no idea where it came from. Sitting over here is a Bible. So now I'm listening to K-Wave, and I'm reading the Bible. So I'm feeling pretty good about myself. About 4 or 5 weeks into this, I decide the knee is probably healed okay. And I get up to go feed the cat. Knee buckles on me. I fall down and I break the other ankle. No. Yeah. So then one of my girlfriends comes in and she says, I guess God isn't finished with you. You're still in school. So there was another full 6 weeks of doing nothing but being immersed in the Bible. So this was like, okay, this was the shepherd, and he smacked me. He smacked me twice. I'm a really dumb little sheep. But it worked. Okay, so now I'm being held and I'm being comforted, and as I healed, I am now totally hooked on the Bible. I mean, I am now just on fire for the Lord, understanding. It was just a phenomenal thing. So I kind of understood then more like what changes are needed. What is living for the Lord? What does that really look like? What does that mean? It doesn't mean going to church on Sunday. And that's the tiniest part of it. But it means waking up praising the Lord. It means looking at everything through the God window. And it did make a huge difference. So I slowed down because my life was too busy prior to this little accident. I didn't have time to sit and read. I didn't have time to contemplate. I didn't have an hour to be on my knees in prayer. I was just too busy. And I said, whoa, maybe busy isn't the answer. And at that point in time, I was on a bunch of different board of directors. I was involved in the community. I was working for K-Frog radio station, which is really why everybody knew me, because I was the face of the frog. Okay, that's what they said. I don't know. I could have figured a better face, but that was it. But so I decided I was going to get involved in a church, and just really, the word ministry hadn't crossed my lips at that point in time. It wasn't something that I really felt was my destiny. But I remember the first time I made a testimony, and it was the most milquetoast, oh yeah, my life is perfect. I've been a Christian since I was a little girl, and Jesus loves me. Yeah. And I get back in the car, and that was the first time I think it was the Holy Spirit said, what? That was your testimony? And in fact, I mean, I've had a pretty raucous life actually prior to that, so that little milquetoast testimony, but I didn't really know, okay, well, what is my testimony? What is a testimony? I didn't really have one. I mean, not now I've got 40 minutes. I can tell you the whole testimony. But being able to, so changes started happening at that point in time. The daily audio Bible, I'm listening to that. And one day I had 23 horses abandoned at my ranch. I had horses. It was my hobby. I showed them and that sort of thing. But these were 23 starving horses. And a lady had rescued them, decided she was going to fatten them up, sell them, and make a lot of money. We're talking 2007. We all know what happened with the economy at that point in time. So I get a call from Animal Friends of the Valley, Willa, who knows me from the K-Frog days. I did a lot of advertising for them, and she says, so those 23 horses will be out in 2 hours to put them down. And I'm like, put them down means put them to sleep, haul their bodies away for rendering. And I'm like, what? I'll help you find homes for them. You just give me the money to feed them, everything will be fine. But state of California, most states euthanize the horses. They don't try to place them. They're euthanized because they're very expensive. So I said, there's got to be something else we can do. And she says, oh, why certainly, I can give them to you. And I'm like, oh no, I'm blonde, but I am not that stupid. Well, lo and behold, more compassion than brains apparently, because I took on the 23 horses. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. But I thought, my thinking was, okay, economy's slowing down right now. I had plenty of money in the bank. Nobody's advertising, so I may as well play with the horses and get them healthy, and then in a year the economy will be better and life will go back to normal. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. But I woke up in the middle of the night, and again, this voice said, it's not about the horses. Yeah, right, whatever. So I go back to sleep. On the third time, I'm kind of like, it's not about this. Is that you, God? You know? And truly, it was. It took 2 years. I mean, I asked my pastor. I asked all my Christian friends. I poured through the Bible for references to horses because I'm trying to think, I got all these starving horses, and it's not about horses. Okay, I had no clue. And then all of a sudden, I got involved with Wishes for Children. I got involved with hospice. I had a girlfriend bring somebody over that was near suicide. And I realized that the horses were merely a venue, a nice, safe, beautiful place where people could come And literally, when you've got all these animals around, you could feel God's love, and you can feel rest and relaxing, and it gives me a chance to talk to you and to share. So I have this little bitty donkey, a Yum Yum. And Yum Yum's a Sicilian donkey. Okay, so when you come to my ranch, and I still do this, she's usually the first person that greets us, is this cute little donkey. But this donkey answered my big biblical question. Because I got the Immaculate Conception and everything. What I couldn't get is a 9-month pregnant woman riding a donkey anywhere, let alone to Bethlehem, right? You've been pregnant? Donkeys? Okay, the Sicilian donkey, the donkey of the air, is about that big and got a flat back. So a little teenager could pop right up, sit side saddle, and tootle right wherever you wanted to go. So that is how I introduce my Christianity to people when they come and visit, because the donkey also has a perfect cross on its back. And this is also the same kind of donkey that Jesus would have ridden in on Palm Sunday. So at this point in time, everybody's either booking for the gate or they're asking me questions. And yeah, it's a pretty good qualifier. It's a pretty good qualifier. And constantly people will say, how do you do this all by yourself? And that's a perfect opening to say, oh, I'm just great. No, I don't do this by myself. This is absolutely all the God's work. I have nothing to do with it. I didn't call those horses into part of who I am. I had no idea I was going to totally change careers and go from marketing and advertising into horse rescue. We're now at 43 horses, sheep, goats, ducks, chickens, geese, dogs, cats, birds. Did I leave anything out? Lots of pigs. Pigs, yeah. we've got everything. But it is, and I couldn't say this word when it first occurred to me that this was my ministry. I never thought I'd have a ministry, but truly and literally that word would just go out of my mind. The devil would just pull it right out. I go, feel stupid, ministry. But that is what this has become. And we joke because I walk on miracles. It's everything that happens with these horses and with my ministry has been an absolute miracle. And that's why they laugh, because I was supposed to do this in February and got preempted by somebody from Phoenix that was bigger and more important, but it was good because the Lord had all these more miracles that he had to do so that I could boast on his miracles. And they happen on a daily basis. But I remember back in October, November, I'm praying to the Lord. I even called in the daily audio Bible program and put a prayer request out there for investors to purchase the property that we were on. And 2 investors showed up. It was pretty incredible. Prayer is so powerful. The buyer wouldn't sell to either of the investors. The buyer hated Christians and hated animals, kind of didn't like me very much. So I am like totally broken. I haven't looked for another place to move or anything. And I'm like, Lord, I got 2 Bible studies I'm going to. I read the Bible every day. I listen to the daily audio. What's going on here? I can't do this. Lord, it's in your hands. And I just literally, what's the words of the song? Sweetly broken, wholly surrendered. That was it. It was beyond, where am I going to find another ranch? Where am I going to move 100 animals? How is this going to happen? And it happened the next day. It happened the next day. All I had to do was turn it over to the Lord. Ran into a neighbor who said she was walking from her property. She's been a widow for a while. Turns out she's been following my rescue for the past 6 years. Don't even really know each other, but she's got all the articles ever written about the rescue. And she and her son helped us move the 100 animals 1 mile down the road. Got in with no first, no last, no credit check. Thank goodness. That was the big, praise God. And so we're there now. Just 2 months ago, I was at my favorite little coffee shop, Aromas, and was talking to the owner. And the owner said that since they're opening a coffee shop at the new hospital, they're just going to kind of close the coffee shop and walk from it. Oh, that's the closest coffee shop. It's the best internet connection. I've been going there for 9 years. You can't close this coffee shop. So I made a ridiculous offer on the coffee shop. And he accepted it. So I now have Aroma's Coffee Shop. That was an incredible blessing. Now, people don't just walk away from prospering businesses. Understand that? I didn't understand that. So it wasn't exactly prospering. It's just kind of hanging in there. However, the support of the community and everybody has been wonderful. So that the business has actually been very blessed and been growing. There's a church, Chorus Church, in our parking lot that's tripled in size. They used to quick close before church was out. I don't get that. We stay open. We welcome the church in. So, but then I had a wonderful little thing happen, and I shared a little bit of it at the Tent Makers Luncheon. And Roger is to blame partially for this. Standing at the counter, and but now by this time also I've joined Tent Makers. I was one of the original people invited to the first Tent Makers lunch, and like the Harvest, like Daily Audio Bible, Tent Makers is really, really powerful because I know I'm not alone. There are all you other business owners out there that are finding ways of sharing your faith. So to me, Aromas, the corporation name is Sweet Smelling Aroma unto the Lord. So to me, I wanted to take and do something with the coffee shop. So the natural is we do Bible studies there. But I'm standing at the counter, and this woman walks in, and she says, I'd like to speak to the owner. I have a rumor I'm trying to dispel, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, my help like disappears. Shh, they're gone. They don't want to hear this rumor. So, and I'm like, I'm the owner. What rumor? And Shirley over there, she says, I understand that you love the Lord. I'm like, oh, okay, that's the rumor I want to hear. So here I'm wanting to do something with the coffee shop that glorifies and honors the Lord. Of course, it's again a wonderful place for me to share the word. But Shirley has something called Gospel Latte. And her whole mission for the day was to find a new location to have open mic Christian music, okay? She happened to wander in here to Trinity. Roger followed her out to the parking lot and started talking to her. Roger will do that if you know Roger. And she's got this trunk full of, Bibles and tracts and you name it. And he's like, okay, what's your story? So he sets her up to do this whole rumor thing. But it took about, 5 minutes, and Gospel Latte's on. So we did it. We did our first Gospel Latte the 2 Saturdays ago. It was packed in there. It was wonderful. The music was, yeah. And we're going to be doing it now. Somebody posted the third Saturday, I thought. Second Saturday, okay. Second Saturday of every month, we're going to have the open mic Christian music, time of fellowship. It is absolutely phenomenal. So, it's just like one thing after another the Lord is doing, but it got better yet. With the rescue that I do, we had a couple dogs that were abandoned Labor Day weekend, an old Roddy that has cancer in his paw, and a younger Dobie. The Dobie's pretty much been adopted by one of my unsuspecting roommates. If you live at the ranch, you're going to have a pet. But nobody wants the Dobie. He's kind of getting old. So we have a guy that I also work with Project Touch. Project Touch provides housing for people that, helps them get back on their feet. It's not a handout, it's a help up. But the apartments that they offer to the families don't allow pets. So you can take a kid and take it out of school and have it be homeless and living in the car, and they might think that's fun. But you take their pet away from them, that's like totally devastating. So I take the pets in, and we feed them and take care of them and invite the families to come visit their pets. And then when they get back on their feet, they get their pets back. So through Project Touch, I had found a guy that did some fence building for me because I think I've got 11 dogs at this point in time. They don't all get along all the time, so you have to do, you have to section things off. So I can't find his telephone number. I need to make an enclosure for this old Rottweiler. Can't even remember his name. And so that was Saturday morning's challenge. Saturday night, we're at Gospel Latte, and it's awesome. It goes from 5 to 8. At 7:30, Josan, that's the name of the guy that I couldn't remember, walks into Aromas with his girlfriend. And I'm like looking at him, and I wasn't planning on buying Aromas, so people that know me as the horse lady aren't getting the coffee lady. And he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and it was just the Lord answered the prayer. He can't tell you where he heard about the Gospel Latte from, but his girlfriend, Michael, has a beautiful voice, and she wanted to sing. And they had everything go wrong. The dryer didn't dry, his jeans were wet, the car didn't start. It was like, and she just wanted to go sing. So it was like, just God is constantly answering prayers. But if you're not in the Word, if you're not close to God, if you don't have a relationship, you'll miss it. That would have been just another coincidence in my life of coincidences. That is not a coincidence. That is the most phenomenal God just intervenes and takes care of things. So the old Roddy's going to live whatever rest of his time out in our new little yard, especially for him. But I mean, just miracles like that, little things, that's a big thing. That's not a little thing. That is a big thing. And again, I think I would have missed a lot of that. That would have been, oh, good luck, or man, I'm good, or I have, good karma. No, I have the Lord, and I have prayer, and it is just, it's amazing in this horrible economy. The horses have, from 23 horses, my 1-year hobby. Of course, we're now a 501c3 corporation. We did get nominated as Nonprofit of the Year, which was really pretty cool. Especially since we were up against Susan G. Komen and Pop Warner, right? So I didn't even have a prepared speech, right? Because there's no way in the world I'm going to win this one. And I'm like, really? And again, it isn't, I think back prior to getting close to the Lord of all the neat things that I, in my own power and my own will, tried to do. I don't got an award for anything, Now I've thrown it all to the Lord. I open it up, and we're there to help. That's the animals are a beautiful venue of healing and peace. And when I opened my life up to serve the Lord, He didn't send me to Africa. He gave me horses. I mean, that's my childhood dream. Since I was a kid, I've dreamt about a ranch. I didn't dream about begging for funds all the time, but I did dream about a ranch and being surrounded by animals and being able to share that love, that nature, those animals with people. And it's just, God knows what His purposes are for your life. Tent Makers has made it really easy look out here, and we have other businesses, and now you guys come in and see me, and it's great, and we can talk. And Shirley and I prayed right then and there in the middle of the shop. We do that often. You'll hear prayer going on. And I just look forward to putting up my prayer board. I took down a bulletin board that had business cards and stuff on it, and I've let everybody get over the hurt of that not being there anymore. And then we're going to turn it into a prayer board. The first thing that happened, of course, go figure, in my struggling new business venture, my espresso machine went on the blink. It's very, very expensive. I had no idea to make steam is so expensive. But here's a good thing that happened. The repair guy that came out to repair it, he's got renal failure, and basically he's passing away. Big fella that's had a pretty tough, strong life. He was a bodybuilder, took steroids. He knows that his problem is his, but he doesn't know the Lord. And I'm just a tiny bit bold, and he's like trapped back there working on the machine. So I started witnessing to him. He's now listening to the daily audio Bible program. He's scared to go into a church. He comes from where it's all condemnation and pointing the finger, and he's pointing fingers enough at himself to say he doesn't need that. But just to be in that position to be able to share. I mean, it's so suddenly that expensive broken espresso machine is really a praise the Lord item, because what's more important, little money or saving a soul? Yeah. My business partner thinks I'm crazy, but this is God's business. It's in His hands, and as long as I'm doing His work, I believe it's going to be successful. And I believe, again, do we measure success by lots of money? I had lots of money at one point. I don't really think I was nearly as successful as I am now, when it's cup of coffee to cup of coffee. But it's what I can give. It's what I can share of the Lord. It's made my life so fulfilling. It's just, I'm kind of looking at the clock knowing, wow, that 40 minutes went by pretty fast. They usually, at the chamber meetings, I get 3, and then, Patrick's there with the bell, and he rings the bell. So no bell.